did nurses affect me when my mom was sick? And really that's part of the reason that I decided to become a nurse, was because of the great care that my mom and my best friend received when they were at the end of life stages. I think that the nurses went out of their way, they went over and above where they needed to be to actually make her comfortable and make her transition from end of life as positive and pain-free and dignified as possible, not only for her but for our family as well. And I can't say enough good things about the nurses, and you know, they knew when to come in at the right time, and just because we had such a great experience, I felt like I promised my mother on her deathbed that I would go back and get my RN, but I felt like being involved in that whole experience, there's a reason that I had to go through that. And so that's what really affected me and kind of drove me to become a nurse. Being a nurse to me means that I'm that person or that sounding board or that patient advocate for the patient when they can't be. A lot of times what I have found in clinical experiences is that either the patient doesn't have the knowledge base to ask the right questions, or is afraid to ask the right questions. And me as a nurse is that differential between explaining what's going on with them and what the doctor's telling them and why are they taking the medication that they're taking, as well as being that sounding board between them and their families. Because a lot of times when these patients come in and they're in a situation, they haven't discussed matters with their family, and they're having to, the family's having to make decisions and the patient's having to make decisions, and that can be very trying on everybody involved. And so I think being a nurse, you're able to educate, and not only the family but the patient, and again be that liaison between all of those bodies. Asking what's important, or why is it important to be caring when you're a nurse, and that's because you are that person's voice, you're that person's trust, you're that person's dignity, you're that person's everything that they can't be for themselves. And you have to do for your patient what they can't do for themselves, because that's why you're a nurse. And what I have found is that it's a very thankless job, and I certainly get more out of it than I'm sure my patients get out of it. And I learn something new every day, and I'm challenged every day. And going through nursing school, all I could think about was, why am I doing this again? But it's well worth it to you.
I've been a nurse for a really long time. I've been at my job for 25 years now, so this December is 25 years. Being a nurse means being a lot of different roles to patients. You're a teacher, you're definitely a major patient advocate, and just being a care provider in a holistic atmosphere is really important to me. Like I said, as a nurse, you are definitely the patient's advocate. You are working with the doctors, you're working with the social workers, you're working with all the other interdisciplinary teams to provide care for this patient and their family, which is a big part that's missed out generally. You're not just caring for that patient, you're caring for the whole entire family. So everything you do to coordinate their care definitely affects their satisfaction. Especially in my field, it's generally a very happy place. There are definitely some sad times, but I love being in the grocery store and running into a couple and they say, "Oh, you were my nurse," and seeing their kids and knowing that I was there when their children were born, and just helping them learn to take care of those infants and go home with the most positive experience.
The doctors come in as doctors. We do our thing for rounds in the morning and rounds in the evening, but the nurses, from the patient wakes up for the next 12 hours, has complete care of the patient, and is most important in their satisfaction in their role. Communication in labor and delivery with our teams is not a hierarchical set of guidelines from the doctor giving the nurses to the orders to the patient care. We all are in a high reliability organization, which is key in your nursing, and you'll learn that later on, is everybody works in a team, and we all work together and have respect for each other. And the nurse's viewpoint of the patient is very significant, and has the utmost role in taking care of the patient.
Anybody be a nurse? Yeah, I think it takes certain qualities to be a nurse. First of all, you need to be smart. You need to get a college education, I believe. You need to be able to pass math and chemistry. You also have to have good communication skills. Nursing's about communicating not only with the patient, but with the doctors, and to be understanding of the patient's needs. So I think you need to have it in your heart to care for other people, and it's not just about yourself, and not everybody has those particular qualities. As said earlier, the nurses and the doctors work as a team, so you need to be a team player. The most important thing is for the patient's safety and care and well-being, and to get them back home, and you need to be a part of that team, and that being your goal.